My friends, you must become extraordinary in every way. If you want extraordinary results, you must put forth extraordinary effort. The word extraordinary literally means to be outside of or beyond the ordinary. If you do the things that are normal, you will live a normal life, drive a normal car, live in a normal house, and have the normal, sexless, and emasculated relationships that everyone else has. You cannot expect to be above everyone else when you do exactly what everyone else does. If you want to live extraordinarily, you must work, think, persist, strategize, sacrifice, and accomplish in a way that is above the ordinary. If you want to have extraordinary access to extraordinary women and have them respect and revere you, you must be far above the ordinary. Studies from Tinder data show that 100% of women prefer men from the top 10% of attractiveness, level of social capital, and economic status, while the bottom 80% of men in terms of these metrics, i.e. the vast majority, only have a 1 in 115 chance of getting a like from a woman on Tinder at any given moment. This means that if you are a man listening to this right now, statistical probability says that you likely fall into the category of average men and thus will share the same fate when it comes to attracting women. However, as a consumer of my message, you do have an advantage over the average, as you likely have a burning desire to become better. To get the women that you want, you must be extraordinary. 75% of American men are overweight or obese. Become extraordinary by being in the top quartile of men with a chiseled, masculine physique. Most men only work 40 hours a week and earn between $30,000 and $40,000 a year annually. By simply putting in the hours that are outside of the ordinary, you can become above average. It takes work and sacrifice. But since the beginning of human history, women have always flocked towards the extraordinary men who stood out above the crowd. Today's times are no different. You must become extraordinary. In these times, true financial freedom is figuring out how to not just work to earn wealth, but rather devise a system of acquiring assets that create wealth. The countless hours of self-education on the nature of money and business, massive expenses spent on advertisements and development of business systems, an indomitable tenacity to keep pushing through and re-strategizing after failures separates those who make it by being extraordinary from the 90% of the normal complacent people. Finding investment opportunities, business niches, and monetizable assets is an arduous task that 90% of those that attempt fail at within the first 5 years of their entrepreneurial venture. However, those that are able to overcome the statistics with pure tenacity and willpower are the ones that live the lavish and luxurious lives that those who choose normalcy envy. I dare say that the 90% of people that fail at the task of wealth creation do not do so due to the inherent impossibility of the task, but rather they fail due to a lack of tenacity, resilience, and an inability to accept defeat. These are all characteristics that the extraordinary 10% that are able to figure out how to crack the system and create wealth possess. The extraordinary greats of history, whose names that we all remember, stood out in their time by doing the things that others couldn't or would not do. For example, Alexander the Great was the son of the great King Philip of Macedonia, who had conquered most of the known Greek city-states. Though most of the members of the royal court told young Alexander to be content in inheriting the kingdom that his father had built, Alexander still wanted to make a name for himself and do what no one else could or would do by conquering the entire known world at the time. Young teenage Alexander's first act of distinguishing himself as an extraordinary young conqueror was mounting and taming a massive wild stallion named Bucephalus that had previously killed and injured every experienced stable hand that had tried to break him. And Alexander, as a young teenager, had triumphantly subdued Bucephalus and rode the beast through the royal Macedonian palace. Everyone in the city, royalty and peasant alike, knew that they were beholding a man who would be remembered forever. Later in Alexander's life, as he was campaigning to conquer Persia, he encountered the town of Gordium that was known for its famed relic, the Gordian knot. You see, according to the legend, This knot was an impossibly complex bundle of knotted rope with no apparent beginning or end point. And to the man that was able to untie this knot would be granted rulership over the entire known world. No one prior, though many had tried, was able to solve this knot. However, when Alexander the Great came across this puzzle, without thinking, he drew out his royal sword and slashed the knot in two, effectively solving this extraordinary problem that no other man was able to solve. Alexander then went on to ride his warhorse Bucephalus across the Hindu Kush mountains into India, becoming king over every place his feet touched, effectively conquering the entire known world and solidifying his place in the annals of time as the greatest conqueror in human history. Alexander the Great was willing to do the things that other men would not do or could not do because he could not settle for normalcy. His extraordinary efforts and extraordinary feats earned for himself an extraordinary name and an extraordinary legacy. My friends, it is time for you to conquer your own extraordinary. Mount your own Bucephalus and slash the Gordian knots in your own personal life to become a modern-day conqueror. The world is yours, my friend.